Live from New York, it's the show that got some great news while they were filling up their coffee cup. That had to change the entire program and my entire attitude.
The Patriots.
Yeah, I have no idea where he's at on this.
How's that?
Bro,
You want him to win, you want him to lose.
It's called a classic can't lose.
no, but that doesn't.
Well, that's
okay.
true. You're-
KW.
Yeah.
Nick
I
is
tried.
highly
I
upset
tried
with you.
nicely.
He tried to come in and manipulate me.
I didn't try to manipulate
And
it.
I
I
just
tried
let
to
him-
help the show. But here's the thing.
All right, let's hear it.
Can't lose
Yeah.
doesn't really work for sports TV, as evidenced by the fact that every time someone else has said it to you, you have rejected it out of hand.
Can't lose?
Yeah.
We mathematically can't lose.
It doesn't
Here's
work.
the thing. You know how you
You're
have to
not-
be up till 3 in the morning clicking on little ways? Like, what if the Raiders beat this team and to try to sneak the Chiefs into a wild card berth? Here's a fun activity. Go to the Patriots
And find a way
loss.
No, they're in the
99%. We don't have to show up. It's on the
It's
board.
just
Half-baked
KW.
idea. We
Let
take
me
a
settle it.
4-week
It's
bye.
not great for competitive sports debate. It's awesome for a fun hang.
It's not even awesome for a fun
Good for
hang.
a fun hang.
Exactly.
Why would
That's good.
people tune in after the Bills-Patriots game?
Affability. We're starting with the fallout from the Eagles' 5-turnover game and 3rd loss in a row. Coach Sirianni was asked today on Philadelphia radio if he'd consider benching Jalen
Are
Hurts
we
at
really-
some point this
He
season.
was asked it, bro. So now
Look,
we can talk
I'll be
about it.
honest, and you were a radio host too. You can ask it.
That's what he
It's
said.
fair game to ask it.
Okay, what's the number one reason for the Eagles' 3-game slide? Also, give me your reaction to Sirianni's tone.
I think he was tired, annoyed, kind of a little regretful that he was doing this interview and all of it. So I wouldn't read more into, because if what you're asking me is his lack of like passionate bang
little-
the
is that
table
what-
defense.
It hit
I
my
thought he
radar.
actually handled it well.
I thought he
coulda
handled
went
it
off
fine.
on him.
And I think
I
Wilds
thought it
would have rather he went off on him. Like, this is outrageous. I just think it's like, Jesus. I mean,
Win as a team, lose.
Yeah, I mean, so I just thought he was just kind of getting through it.
Okay.
But to answer this question, biggest reason for the Eagles' 3-game slide, bad offense. And that falls primarily on the quarterback and the offensive-minded head coach. That's just, to me, what is fair and how we would treat any team in this situation. Like, again, it's not quite apples to apples, but if the Chiefs, who are in the midst of a slide as well, but if it was clearly because the offense is not performing, because they're averaging 18 points per game, because in the last 10 quarters they had scored 34 total points, we would say, most likely, Patrick and or Andy need to figure it out. And so, listen, this is why I think it is, while benching him for Tanner McKee is ridiculous, I would be greatly concerned if I were Philadelphia. We talk a lot about the supernatural funk and vibes and all of that.
Sure.
What is true about that year is Jalen Hurts fell off after the bye. And the defense got worse as well. But this is Jalen Hurts that season. Coming off a Super Bowl appearance, team had a good record, but it seemed like things were off leading into the bye. And then after the bye, which was in week 10, his play fell off considerably. Jalen Hurts this year, after their bye, which was in week 9, the high was higher and the lows have been lower. And so the team, while it has not yet lost 5 of 6, what I would say is this, Brew. This team, going into the Cowboys game, had lost twice in its previous 25 games Jalen played, and 3 times total in its previous, 27 games or whatever it was. And now they've lost 3 in a row. Mm-hmm. So I would be also concerned about how this type of losing for a team that has not the last time they lost a bunch, they fell apart entirely. That's what would add to my concern.
Since he's your guy, I'm going to let you have the first shot. Is he,
I mean, I have a real answer. Against the Chargers, you turned the ball over 5 times.
He was the reason for that
He was the
loss,
reason.
yes.
The Bears I thought, look, he wasn't great in the Bears game. He'd turn over there. The
He
Bears
had 2 touchdown passes.
Bears ran for 281 yards. It's the first time they had two 100-yard rushers in the same game since 1985. And the Cowboys, they just, hit that cold streak.
He
The
played
Bears
well.
game,
He played well against the Cowboys.
in the first
Did he
half.
run for 2 touchdowns? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had just kept
Second
on
half.
punting the ball.
Am I wrong? In the Bears game, he had 2 turnovers as well.
Do you have 2 or one interception?
Well, they stole the
one interception.
and they stole the tush
Oh,
push.
yes.
one
The
fumble.
Yeah,
yes,
so
the
there's
tush
a
push.
fumble and a pick.
Also, I want to play by the rules of the show. When you got the Raiders coming to town, this all feels like spinning your wheels of angst.
Yeah, look, I certainly expect them to beat Knicks Raiders. All right, but
Are you
2
sure?
years ago.
The Raiders
Well,
beat the
2 years ago when they lost to Arizona, right?
Correct.
Arizona was coming into town. You thought they were going to get right, and they didn't.
Lost to the Giants.
Yeah, in that funk.
Yeah.
So, look, Jalen was the reason they lost the last game, no doubt. 5 turnovers, 31 pass rating speaks for itself. But I don't blame the whole 3-game losing streak on him. But I do agree with you, it's the offense, period. Because he was, like I said, he played fine against Dallas. He was okay, he had his issues against Chicago. But the offense, and I think Kevin Patullo, I'm putting a lot of this on him. Because last year, even though it wasn't a phenomenal offense, it was better. It was 7th in the league in scoring. Now it's like 19th in the league in scoring. That's him. I put a lot of it on the offensive line just being banged up. Lane Johnson has missed the last 3 games. They've lost the last 3 games. They're 15-26 when he doesn't play. And they're great, obviously, when he does play. So that's not a sexy answer, but it's true. The offensive line struggles are an issue. And I think it's not only affecting Jalen, but it's affecting Saquon, which is their run game. So I mainly look at the line, the lack of run game because of it. And then Kevin Patullo, at some point, switching offensive coordinators every year will get to you. And it looks like this year has gotten to him.
One that hasn't done it ever.
He hasn't done a good job.
Let me pitch this theory to you. Because yesterday I did a blame pie on why the Eagles are losing, a little bit like Lane Johnson, offensive line, and Saquon, Patullo. Is there a little bit of, for Jalen, a narrative, lose the battle, win the war? Where his whole career in Philadelphia has been defined, he's the point guard of a super team. Yeah. But if he wears this 3-game losing streak, you know what? It's mostly me. The lion's share of it is my fault. That when they come out of it, he might come out with a new reputation as he is the engine. He's not a passenger on a superstar bus. He's the driver.
I think the opposite is happening.
Happening right now.
Yes.
But he's saying if they come out.
I understand that is a very optimistic way to look at it. I look at it, and maybe we are both approaching it from our own priors, as it's not a super team right now, and look how he looks. They don't have a superstar running back. To Brew's point, they don't, for the first time, in my opinion, in his career, have the best or the second best offensive line. And all of a sudden, we are seeing the massive limitations of Jalen Hurts, the passer. And again, I want to reiterate that is not the same as saying Jalen Hurts, the quarterback. There is more to being a quarterback than simply throwing the football. There is not more to being a passer. So the offense, to me, Brew, feels very, for lack of a better term, laborious. And when you add to it, he does not run as much or as effectively as he used to. That is the concern. And I thought you saw at the end of the game Monday night when it looked like they might pull it out of the fire, it's like, oh, Jalen's running again. That's useful. That it almost felt to me like Herbert and Jalen, were like, all right, I'm going to have to do this with my legs. But I agree with you, Wilds, that with Saquon playing the way he is with Lane Johnson out, that even though they have two great wide receivers, this is not a super team the way we have talked about them in the past. Mm-hmm. But I do not think Jalen Hurts has the ability to be great consistently under these circumstances. And I think what we are seeing as of late is he is pressing because of it. I thought, and we didn't spend as much time on it as we could have, I really thought, Brew, the decision to throw that ball on 1st and 10 where he did it was crazy. Like it wasn't.
At the end of that game?
Yes, the game, the pick at the end. It's 1st and 10. The Chargers are on their heels. You know what I mean?
He didn't get it up over the defender.
Right, but it was going to
Otherwise,
take
it probably would've been a touchdown.
it was available, but it needed to be perfect. And for a guy who the biggest film nerd critique of him is, man, if it's not wide, he won't throw it unless it's wide open. That's what was frustrating AJ. It to me was shocking that he took that chance when people were frustrated with him a few months ago, that of not making far easier passes under far lower leverage situations to avoid a turnover.
Here's my frustration, and I said it to you yesterday. Jalen Hurts isn't above reproach. He's delivered 2 Super Bowl appearances in 4 years. They won, 4 games before he took over as the starter? All right, and he's developed into one of the best quarterbacks. And the offense has been bad all season. And I'm doing this is not to start an argument on another sort. But I'm saying this year.
Whenever that happens.
It's him versus Patrick.
This year, let's see the stats.
I'm sure it's him versus Patrick.
Let's see the stats. You can have a down year. He's having a down year, and he's better than Mahomes across the board other than passing yards.
But can I ask you a question, honestly? Do you think he's been better than Mahomes this year?
I think Mahomes has been a little better, but the statistics are the statistics. Yeah. Statistics don't just come out of thin air.
No, of course.
And so I'm just saying, he doesn't have. Mahomes actually statistically has a better run game this year than Hurts does. They run for more yards a game. They get more yards per carry. And Hurts is. So I'm just saying. The hand-wringing over Jalen Hurts, this is why I came down on A.J. Brown yesterday. If Mahomes had a receiver, now Mahomes is really above reproach, but I'm just saying, if he had a receiver that was saying, I thought he threw the ball better. Back in the day, it was different. Then all of a sudden, it's a big story, even though it would be foolish, but it would be a huge story. Sure. And we'd be nitpicking Mahomes a lot more than we are. And I think that's happening to Jalen.
Yeah, so good argument. I do not think the Eagles' offense functions like an offense that has a great quarterback. Just don't. And I understand, you're right, the numbers are the numbers. And I thought you were even going to go further. I bet Jalen's numbers over the last 2 years to Patrick, it's even more stark. I understand. I get that. And it's not going to start a big argument because I know the point that you're making, but I watched the Chiefs and other teams as well, but I'll use the Chiefs, and I'm like, everything they do assumes our quarterback is so great, we can do these things. And I feel like the Eagles run the offense in the opposite. Everything
they didn't always in the past. That's why I look at Patullo. Because we know a few years ago when A.J. Brown first joined the team, he had a career year with Jalen Hurts. So I think a lot of it's on the new OC.
No, listen, I think, was that with Shane Steichen, who's proven to, proven to be a quarterback whisperer, get the best out of them. Yeah. It just feels like the Eagles' offense right now is dealing with a quarterback problem. That doesn't mean the quarterback is a long-term problem. But the reason to me the Eagles have had issues this year is their offense, and the biggest problem with their offense is it doesn't seem like they have a week-to-week reliable passing game. And so, and maybe they didn't bank on going from the best rushing attack in the league to a below-average one, and they haven't been able to overcome it.
8-5 Eagles can be caught by the Cowboys if this slide evolves into a full-blown funk. Jerry Jones was relishing in the idea that the Cowboys are alive after watching the Eagles lose to the Chargers. Are you giving the Cowboys a chance to catch the Eagles?
Absolutely. And it's because, to me, I'm going to lay out 2 scenarios, either of which to me are incredibly, I don't want to say likely, but realistic. And the first one is that after missing this week, which he's going to, Jaden Daniels is back. the week after this.
You think they'll bring him back?
The reporting is, I think
would
that
keep him out the rest
I
of
know
the
that, but you probably wouldn't have played him this past week. But even that team showed with Mariota in the Broncos game, like they
played
can
well
be
in that
live, like whatever. But that the scenario is the Eagles in a road divisional game with or without Jaden Daniels lose it, and then they are playing in Buffalo with potentially their season on the line, because 2 losses can't eliminate them. That scenario might seem like too farcical, so let me just give you the next one. They win their next 2, as does Dallas. They then lose to Buffalo. And the Dallas Cowboys in Week 18 play the New York Giants, and the Philadelphia Eagles at home are in a scenario of, if we lose this game, our season is over. Does it feel to you like it is on the board that this Eagles team that we have seen this year, again, they go win, loss, if that happens, if the Cowboys can beat teams they're going to be favored to beat,
It's really interesting.
where they just walk into Week 18 with, if we lose, our season's over. And I think that with a very anxious and not happy Eagles crowd, like I think that is, I expect them at the very least to lose to Buffalo. And so I wouldn't trust Philadelphia, this Eagles team, in a Week 18 game. I wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
Oh, really?
All
You're giving them no shot?
First of all, I'm disappointed in Jerry. Jerry has moved the goalpost. When he traded Micah, it was to improve the run game, as he said,
sure.
and they were supposed to make the playoffs and make some noise.
Yeah.
And now you're all giddy about having a shot, a long shot, at making the playoffs?
Well, that's the only thing he can
It's
do.
ridiculous. All right, I'm not letting him move the goalpost. So that's number 1. All right, number 2, I do think, Nick, I think that the Eagles are going to sweep the Commanders because, one, if they bring back Jaden, I just think it's ridiculous. Your season's over.
Bro, you thought it was ridiculous they brought him back this
But
week.
not as ridiculous. Just because, you have more time left. You didn't have as much evidence that he's so injury prone. Now he gets hurt in his first game. And so I would not play him. But even if they do, he wasn't great when he played. He's
looked
rusty and all that.
Yeah.
And so I think they'll sweep the Commanders and they'll beat your Raiders. I know you got faith in the Raiders. That's why you're really iffy about this. Bills might beat them. I mean, that could go either way. But here's the other thing. I don't have confidence in the Cowboys to win out.
Oh, really?
What have we seen? Oh, they look great against Philly and Kansas City.
Yeah.
And then get boat raced when it really matters against the Lions. And they were boat raced. What was it, 27-9 at one point? They lost by 2 touchdowns. So I'm just like,
they're really
I
good
think
at
the
home.
Chargers are better than them.
Oh, I
don't.
Not to the I don't in their present states. I don't. I think the Cowboys the last month have been a better
Chargers
team
are better.
than the Chargers. I mean,
Cowboys
they both.
favored against the Chargers.
There's
Yeah,
no
of
reason
course.
for me to think the Cowboys
No,
are
the
going to win.
Cowboys are going to be. Well, again, the Cowboys.
They'll do something. They would blow it.
So
They would blow.
It is surprising. But you wouldn't be shocked, bro, if the Cowboys win their next 3. You wouldn't I don't think you would. The Vikings, Chargers.
I mean, they're not like world beaters, but I think the Chargers. We'll see what I say that week, but right now I feel like the Chargers will beat them. Because I just think the Cowboys have not shown me anything to make me feel like, you know what, they can sustain a long run. They cannot talk about the Super Bowl. They cannot get giddy because, well, we got it going. I mean, that's what they do. After a win or two, everybody's celebrating Quinnen Williams and we're back, baby, and here we go. No, you're not.
I buy that to a degree. I guess the point that I'm making is I don't think you'd be shocked if they beat the Chargers.
It's not shocking.
Right.
The Chargers
and so
aren't great.
if the Cowboys go 3-0 in the next 2, and even if we give Philly the road Commanders game, if they lose to Buffalo, they walk into Week 18 with the season on the line. And this team has felt to me like a team that has been waiting to... They brought in an inflatable bunny to the locker room because the vibes were so bad. They responded to that, bro, with the worst game the quarterback's ever played. Like they are now... And listen, you're right that I have been wrong about the Raiders. I have been wrong about the Raiders. I also will say I don't love Monday night overtime devastating losses the following week. I'll tell you that
Now
much.
look, if they lose to the Raiders,
well, if they lose to the Raiders, their season's over. But I don't
the
think they're
funk
gonna.
is
I don't
right there.
think they will. But I am giving the Cowboys a chance. 25%.
Okay.
25%.
Yeah, 1-4.
Wow.
1-4.
What's your? I'd say 2%.
I'd say 26.
Oh, you gotta price is right.
Bills in New England Sunday at 1. Patriots are the 2 seed in the AFC. And this question was originally about them being underdogs.
And different books still do have them as underdogs.
Oh, you should hammer that then. Do you want to take this segment off?
No, I'm good.
And
I'm not going to
hammer
be
that?
betting the Patriots this week.
You should hammer that if I
No,
were
I
you.
love that DraftKings is going to let me get the Bills at +1.5. I like that.
Do you think? So, what question did we land on here?
Should they be favored?
Should they be favored? Are you surprised this line move? What was your reaction?
I feel like somebody saw the show when I said, "Look, they should be favored."
Thank you, bro.
It's an insult to them. Now I think they're gonna lose, but I'm just saying
That's what I
they
said.
should be favored.
What are you talking about?
Brew, I tried to talk you off this
What are you
take on the
talking
call.
about?
It's
They should be
confusing to
favored,
the
but you
audience.
think they're going to lose?
I think they're gonna lose, but
why
that doesn't
should they be
mean what
favored?
Joe Public thinks. You're at home. You've been the better team all year.
Yes.
You have the better team on paper, offensively and defense, as far as balance. Your quarterback has outplayed their quarterback.
So why-
You beat them in their building.
I know all this.
Division game is
Division game?
different. Yeah, division games are different.
Okay.
It's tough to sweep somebody, especially the guy that's been the king of the mountain.
Hold on. Can we stop saying the Patriots have better offense than the Bills?
Balance-wise, he said he put
But
a
it's
top
not-
Well, I
line.
was saying offense and defensive balance.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean,
Like
yeah,
both are in the top 10.
yes, they have a better defense than the Bills, and the Bills have a better statistical, and to me,
They've scored more points. The Bills have.
they're also the better running team, right? They have to be.
Best run team.
Yeah, Bills are the best run team.
Right,
One of
they're
the
the best run team,
The
and they
best.
have the reigning MVP as their quarterback, and they scored more points. So I think I think Patriots have a great offense, or a really good offense, I should say, and a great quarterback is what I feel. But I don't think the Patriots have the better offense of these two teams. If the Patriots win, it would be because one of two things happen, I would imagine. Either the Bills' run defense is just awful,
Yep.
and the Patriots take advantage of it, but your guys' biggest weakness offensively is your running game. And I know you think it's a weakness by choice, but again, if we're going by the stats, like the only thing you guys aren't above average in is running. And the other reason is if Josh has a bucket of turnovers. That would be the concern.
You seem like you're with me that the Bills are going to win.
I'm definitely with you.
Are you still playing the fence?
I've never played. No, well, I haven't played the fence. I think that the
You just
Patriots.
admitted you
I was
played
trying
it.
to think. I think the Patriots are going to win, and at the same time, you can call me a coward. You can call me all sorts of names. It's not the worst case scenario if we lose.
But that's
I'm not going to come in here devastated. I would
With
like
a blowout loss. Now, I'm not saying I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
I honestly, outside of
Even
injury,
that.
I don't know anything that would like dampen my spirit.
Hold on, can I say something to you? Because this is.
But I do think we're going to win.
I'm not sure
Did I
you
interrupt
do.
you?
I've got all sorts of statistics, but I'm
I'm
willing
not
to field
sure
your
you
question.
If you truly believe, and I know you do, that this team has a chance this year to make a Super Bowl,
Yes.
then every loss, any loss before you secure the 1 seed should feel devastating. That's the part of this that I really reject on its face to you, on your like, oh, we want to be tested, we could take a loss. The difference in the chances of a team making the Super Bowl, if they are guaranteed to have home playoff games and they skip round 1 versus playing a really hard round 1 game against whoever is the 7 seed.
Fair.
So you should watch all of these games with a white knuckle intensity of until you get the 1 seed and the fact that if
He
you
wants
finish
you
with
to
the
be miserable.
No,
Like,
We
if
won
you-
10 in a row. It can't be like, oh my
Finish-
gosh, we need to win 14 in a row. I'm not. That's
You're
not where
right.
I'm
You
at.
can't feel that way unless you feel like this team can win a Super Bowl, and you feel like they can.
I feel
Those
like
are the stakes.
I'm just a few things. One, I don't think Denver is going to go on this. I think Denver is going to lose to the Chiefs, and I think the Packers are going to beat Denver. So I think we can afford a loss and jump. I think I can have my cake and eat it too. Again, I don't want to lose, but I do want a real playoff atmosphere. I don't want to just keep on beating up on, the Falcons and the Dolphins, who, by the way, beat the Bills. So I know we have the easiest schedule, but those teams have beaten the Bills. I view them as tomato can easy victories. Another week, another day of Lamar missing practice. Not good, bro.
I know.
It's every week.
I don't know what. I mean, you said it. You said he's hurt.
But
okay.
I mean, that's what you've been saying.
Harbaugh kind of explained why he keeps on missing practices. He did this yesterday.
Lamar, in his judgment.
This is odd. Here's the stat that I want to put this stat out to pasture, Brew. Poor Josh has to update it after every bad game. Completion percentage, yards.
Well, we know it's the worst
bad.
run of his career. It is the worst.
And then you say, I expect him to snap out of it. And then it come Monday, I'm like, Josh, can you update that graphic again? Do you believe we'll see the old Lamar? And give me your take on this missing practice.
I don't think we'll see the 130 passer rate in Lamar we saw last year or at the beginning of this year. But I came across some interesting numbers that stunned me a little bit.
Okay.
I looked at his numbers from 2021 and 2022, the entire seasons. So that's 2 seasons combined. And his numbers this year. And look at him. The numbers this year are better. Now, I know he had the boost in the beginning of the year, but my point is he seems to have done this in his career a little bit. Like his first, he had the his first year was whatever, as a rookie. Second year was phenomenal. Then he has these 2 bad years.
But he was a much better runner those years.
Yes, he was. But the passing is starkly,
Correct.
I mean, the TD interception ratio is much worse. Yards per attempt is worse. Passer rating is much worse.
So what are you trying to say here?
I'm wondering, now those were the years, Nick, too, that he was hurt.
At the end of the year.
Yeah, at the end of the year, he missed with some seasons.
This is an injury graphic.
No, I'm just saying he hasn't been, we've seen it even with Mahomes. Quarterbacks have down years. I mean, Brady wasn't ever terrible, but your years fluctuate. And I'm just wondering, he's already done it in the past. Is that what this is? In addition to some, kind of nagging injuries. I don't think it's anything too serious.
All right, just so to be clear, to clarify something you said. It's not an injury graphic because those years he was healthy and then got hurt missed the end of the year.
But
wasn't it sort of a nagging thing? I don't remember what
he
his
suffered.
It was hamstring.
No, it was one of them wasn't.
Sickness.
One of them was an ankle, and the other. But regardless, he suffered an injury in a game and then missed the final 4 weeks.
But that's my point. He was a good quarterback those years, but he wasn't. These last 2 years prior to this one, he went to another level when he won his 2 MVPs.
I totally
and now he's kind of back to that.
agree with that, but I think putting his numbers this year together for a year is not the story of the season. The story of the season is before he had the hamstring injury, he was having a year like he had last season. They were losing because of the defense. His numbers were unbelievable. And then since he's been back, or his last 5 games, his first game back he was fine, Danny had these graphics on Breakfast Ball, and I just said I want to see them again because I thought they were stunning. So just roll both of the Lamar graphics if you would. I don't care about which order they're in because they're both, it's unbelievable the company that he keeps right now and his rankings. So last 5 games, it is not a stretch to say he's been the worst quarterback in the league.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
I mean, passer rating, they rate the passers.
That's a stretch.
Drew, I'm not.
It's actually worse than
the worst quarterback in the league. How about all those guys that are off the mountain?
But
they're not. They haven't played all.
Brew, 36 is worse than the worst.
Drew,
he's 34th.
I see what the numbers say, but when I show you numbers about Patrick Mahomes, you say, well, the numbers don't matter.
We're 2 for 2 on Patrick Mahomes.
No, I'm just saying.
I know.
Drew,
I would not say the worst in the league.
Who's it been?
Jalen Hurts just threw 5 and had 5 turnovers in his last game.
Okay,
maybe that.
All right, so
I'm just saying.
I think Jalen Hurts over the last 5 games has been better than Lamar.
I just think saying worse than the league is ridiculous.
Okay,
There's no way Cam Ward has put up better numbers.
Well, I mean, Brew, I can tell you by definition, he has a better touchdown to turnover ratio because.
Do you think Cam Ward has played better than Lamar Jackson over the last 5
I don't. Probably not.
Cam Ward was okay against the Seahawks.
Brew.
Fine.
I'm
just saying, that's what I'm asking you.
But Bro, what do you make of these numbers?
Hold on.
Lamar Jackson has been terrible the last 5 games.
Then we agree.
I'm just saying, worst in the league.
Okay, let me rephrase it because this isn't even the point I was trying to make.
I forgot where we're going.
I'm not saying Lamar over the last 5 games has been the worst quarterback in football. I'm simply saying he's played like the worst quarterback in football would. Here it is, bro. Worst passer rating since week 10. It's J.J. McCarthy, a guy who doesn't play anymore. Jalen Hurts, to your point, he's on there, and Tyrod Taylor, who's hurt. So he's among the worst. So here is the point that I want to bring to you, Coach. And listening to that Harbaugh commentary.
Can I have you one caveat? Dusty just got in my ear. Just a rest day, no official injury designation.
So
Great.
He might.
No, but
tomorrow.
Right. Missing a day of practice has not worked, and he should stop doing it. And I don't, he plays the game, he doesn't suffer visibly like a re-injury during the game, he doesn't miss the end of the game, and then the first practice of the week, or last week it was the second practice of the week, he misses, then he plays the worst football of his illustrious career, is this stretch right now, and then they do it again. And then when Harbaugh's asked about it, he's like, basically, we trust the player. Harbaugh makes it very clear. This is not a team decision. This is a Lamar decision. I'm here to tell you, I think it's the wrong decision. I think what we're seeing is Lamar Jackson, for some reason, has not played well when missing these practices.
Yeah, so he's missed 5 weeks in a row. He's missed a day of practice. Now, with that 5-week period, we saw the numbers he's put up, including under 60% completion 5 straight games, which he's never done in the course of his career. Outside of that, he's averaging almost half as many rushing yards as he normally does. So that's significant. Probably he's being sacked at double the rate that he normally gets sacked. So those are obviously things related to his mobility. And the idea that he doesn't have an injury distinction and it's just rest doesn't seem like it totally adds up. I don't know if I'd be really happy if I was in Vegas and he was playing like this, and we keep saying it's only rest, but he's got
the previous ones weren't rest. The previous one was a toe, an ankle, a hamstring.
By the end of the week, doesn't it go by Friday like no injury designation? No, it's one of those things where I got fined one time $20,000 for not tagging Brett Favre with an injury. Guy went out and threw 5 touchdowns. Like, I think people would have been mad if I had tagged him and he threw 5 touchdowns. And now we're missing a day. He's got no injury designation. And for the head coach to say, I think this is the right thing. Oh, no, I know it's the right thing. Really, as the head coach, you get to decide if he's cleared by the medical staff, whether someone practices or not, unless there's someone above you saying that's not going to happen. Lamar's going to get the day off.
But does he – look, we all know. I think Harbaugh should be on the hot seat and the way things are going out after this year. But what could he – he really, to me, doesn't seem to be in position to be like, Lamar, you were cleared. You're going to practice today. I don't think he can do that.
Well, the quarterback is such a different position than anybody else in terms of how it affects practice because everybody is so dependent on him. Right. You're dependent on him for, obviously the timing of the routes. You're dependent on him for the cadence for the offensive line. If you want a hard count, if there's check with me's, hey, versus this look, we're going to do this, versus this look. There's so many elements that come into play that the quarterback affects. So when he misses practice, the impact just
when a quarterback misses practice, where is he? Like for your practices, like I'm out, but it's a rest day for me. I'm still in the building, and I'm still.
You can be on the sideline. You can be in the huddle. You can be at practice.
Is there value in me participating in some of the non-physical stuff?
Well, that would be listed as limited.
Yeah, then you would be
LP instead of DNP.
I can't just be sitting there.
No, you can sit there.
You can sit there and.
If they want me to do a hard count, guys, then I'm limited.
Then you'd be limited.
Well, it's just, again, for efficiency, you practices time, the reps, everything is timed down to the minute, and you're trying to be as efficient for the whole group. So if you're like, okay, Lamar, come in for this one hard count, you can do it. It's
odd.
It's an odd situation.
Can I say something, Brew, that I think you might agree with me on? I have no evidence of this. It's just what I believe. And I think I have a lot of circumstantial evidence. I think Lamar's ready for a reset. I think
Coach, not team.
Yeah, not for him. I mean, not that he wants to go somewhere.
Right.
I think that Lamar has given us a bunch of signals this year, and he very well might be right, that, yeah, I think this iteration of the Ravens has run its course. And I think him, after that game in this position, not putting in a full week of practice is actually stunning. And the coach and it being called a rest they could call it, he's been dealing with injuries. They could easily be like toe out. The fact that they are making it known, no, he's healthy enough to practice, we're giving him a day to rest. The coach is saying, you got to trust the player. Meanwhile, the player's playing the worst football of his life. The coach is on the hot seat. The division is being frittered away, and Lamar is not practicing.
And you already lost to this team.
He's taking the day, and to Coach's point, he knows everyone's work day is now less effective because I'm taking the day.
Now the only other thing I'll add, the flip side of this is if the alternative is he practices every day, but he may or may not play. Like if this is the only way that he can get to Sunday, then you just got to suffer through it.
Yeah, I agree with that, but it doesn't seem like
it doesn't seem.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.